And I want to go back to that part of measurable, right? I want you to do X, Y, and Z, this many things by this time.
Right.
It's got to be clear, measurable. That it's got to be clear. So, leader, pastor, when you're talking to specifically this generation, Generation Z, not millennials. Millennials are my age; they're 40. Generation Z, they're like 20. You know, though they need clear direction in regards to where they're going. So that's really important. This leads to a question that I wanted to ask you about leadership. How important is leadership capacity and leadership development how important is that in the next decade and for the next generation?
I think we do disservice to people when we make them whatever traditional deacon or whatever without giving them some leadership training. We do a disservice to them. Like I said before, you can have dysfunction. The problem is we give them an assignment, but the expectation from the person that's serving is for them to lead, but they have no leadership training. They have no leadership ability. So before you give a person a promotion to any particular title, there must be a leadership piece to that because they're going to lead.
Yes.
I mean, if they're going to lead, you need to make sure that leadership is piece and training and development and equipping is just important as understanding their assignment.
Absolutely.
You know, because many people get excited about the call, but now the work start. You know, that's what the question is asked: is there a cause? We already know the call. God calls you, we give you, but is there a call? So the cause has to be defined and be clear. So I think it's very important. Like I said, if you don't give that person that leadership part of the training, make that part of their title, make that part of your position. And the other thing is making sure that they understand the vision and the mission and how what they're doing fit into the whole thing. So all that has to be done before we give them the title.
Absolutely.
We give them the title, then have expectation because of the title, but we have not given them training to arrive there.
Right. Which is why we're talking about reimagining.
Yes.
You have to. That means that puts more responsibility on you as the leader.
Right.
To spend some time in development. Shameless plug, but a plug. We have VFO's book on Leadership Manual 3.0. This is a great text to start with in regards to leadership development. So if you don't have it, you need to jump on Amazon or go to his webpage to get the book, because as a leader, that means you have to be tooled. You know, it's as a young, another generation, we can tell when you're not tooled, right? We can tell when you're not prepared. So that means the leader has to be prepared and have their toolbox prepared to give to others. And even if you don't have it, you have resources like coaches and books that you can pass down to them to prepare them. Because you're right, it's nothing like going to an assignment and you're not prepared.
Right.
And you're leading people. People are people. You need spiritual and natural tools to lead people. You need to be an adaptive leader. You need to know how to work with soft skills and hard skills, critical thinking, and conflict resolution, which is a big thing in churches, right? And that means if you have the tools, then they're not calling you as much. They're taking on the vision and they're running with it. So being tooled and reimagining not only the structure, but reimagining how you are as a leader is important in the upcoming year as well.
Amen. And as a lead pastor, tooling your people is going to make your job easier.
Absolutely.
Because they don't be coming to you for everything.
Absolutely.
You got people to train, and specifically in areas that you know that your mission and your church can require, because you're dealing with people. With people, you can have problems.
Absolutely.
So you have to have somebody who understand and know how to solve problems. With people, you're going to have conflict. You got to have somebody know how to handle conflict.
Reimagine.
Yes. With people, you're going to have to work together as a team. So you're going to have somebody who knows about teamwork, how to build a team. So all that's part of reimagining, training your people to be leaders. not position-minded people.
Right.
Because when you look at the hierarchy of leadership, position is the lowest form of leadership.
Right.
And so you have to equip your people. So this what this all about is about reimagine, revision, and re-equipping your people to get the greater results that you want to get, and that falls in line with your mission and your vision.
Absolutely. So, as we've talked a whole lot, as we wrap up all this conversation, we hope that you are motivated to sit down personally and with your team to look at your structure, your strategy. I have one more last question. What does that look like? Somebody's asking this, probably might say, what does it mean to sit down, reimagine, and strategize? What is the example? What does that look like to do that?
I think the first thing you have to do, like the Bible said, write the vision. You have to get a pen and paper. I think it's important for you, and maybe you got a computer, but you just sit down and have pen and paper and write these things down. And they have to be clear. First of all, to be clear to you, it must be a conviction, because you just can't have this stuff. It must be a conviction. And then I think it's important to as you write, give content. And you thinking in the light of, see, a teacher has to think in the light of the student rather than what the teacher has to say. So I think it's important. It's important what it looks like. It looks like, first of all, you writing a vision, making it plain, it clear, in the light of the person who wants to read it. You have, like I said before, it has to be initiative, rethought on your part, and take initiative, prepare these things like this, and then be able to understand these tools that it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
I got to get the buy-in. I got to be clear. I got the buy-in from my people, and when they don't get it, I have to go back and ask questions. The key part is don't get frustrated with the process. Ask questions to find out where your people are. Then when you find out where your people are, then you can move forward. So that's to me, that's what it's a whole training process that you put in place that get your people. This is where I am right now. X mark over here. This is where we want to go. In the middle is the process, how we get there. I think that's important to do it like that.
Yeah, I believe that's the first phase. If you can get to that part, then you'll move into a place where you can gather people together and kind of actualize. What that mean by actualize is writing down specific objectives and goals that align with the mission and vision. You said values, going through your values for that, and you can either write that down or do that collectively. But the first phase, as you just mentioned, is a clear mission, a clear vision, and that buy-in. If you don't have that, then you don't have steps. You don't have a strategy. You have just words on a paper.
Yeah, that John Maxwell says like this. No, he didn't say it. I think John Wooden said, hope is not a strategy. And so many times as Christian believers, we have a lot of hope, we have a lot of faith, but we don't have a strategy. Faith without work is dead.
That's right.
So those things are important to me, and that's what all this look like.
Great.
Does every person on your team have a leadership capacity they need to do their job? That's a question we can address, and you need to address when you're preparing that reimagine.
Are they prepared?
Are they prepared? And then, like you said earlier, do they have all the tools they need to do the job?
Right.
And that's a job of the leader to make that happen.
Right. And then also, if they don't, where do you need to go? Are you willing to help them get to the place of leadership? And what is that place, right? Is that there's levels of leadership. There's where do you want them to be proficient, intermediate? Where do you want them to grow into? Because it's going to take some time to get your leadership to a place, but moving the needle, where do you want them to be? What professional development, what conferences, what people you need to bring in to get them there, right? But that's a key question to start at the beginning. Where is your leadership?
Right.
Where is your team at in their proficiency to lead others? And you know this by the conflicts or the things that they're doing in the church. If you're noticing there's a lot of interpersonal conflicts, team problems, disgruntled in regards to mission vision, people are late or not completing tasks, that shows you there's a leadership challenge, there's a leadership problem, right? That's something you need to address. And so identifying where your team is that first step is knowing where you are, knowing who you are, that figuring the problem, that's the first step.
Yeah, and evaluating. That's so important, evaluating where you are. And the other key part, be honest.
Yeah.
Make an honest assessment of where you are. And then if you make the honest assessment where you are, and then you can get the tools you need to get you where you need to go. Those things are so important because, one of the things you have to look at is growth. If you want growth, then you have to staff, train, equip your people for growth. If you don't do that portion right, the other thing gonna be all off. So that's important for us to do that. Get those roles lined up, get your people trained, understand that if they don't have the equipment, I need to tool my people. I need to equip my people. I need to tool them up so they can be successful in what they're trying to do. Because one thing I know that people do what people see. So it's so important for you as a leader, I'm talking to that leader, for you as a leader to be an example. You have to be the key example of all those mission and values in your church. If you're the key example of that, it's much easier for people to follow. Because one of the things that you shared earlier, that not only shared vision, but modeling the way.
Absolutely.
That's important for the leader to model the way. And if you model the way on learning and having a personal growth plan, because I think every leader needs a personal growth plan. In this season, I think it's important for if you're a leader to, first of all, is to look at a year in review. Look at what you didn't do last year, and that'll give you for some things that you need to do, improve on the coming year.
Absolutely.
That's that reimagining part two of what you didn't do. So it's a good time to evaluate not only your team, but evaluate yourself.
Yeah.
And take a look at what you are and what you want to be, and in light of what do you want to achieve through your vision and mission. So all those things are very important, especially at the end of the year, knowing that this is the time I need to do what I need to do.
Right. I want to say this in closing. I know you're going to close us out. That these concepts, I know they are. They're not what we normally hear often.
Right.
Unfortunately, in our generation, we have a lot of online leaders and pastors, and they just showcase kind of the flashiness, suits and cars and all this, and how much money they're making, and they're doing this facade of where they are.
Right.
But we're talking about leaders who really want to make a difference. They're more focused on substance than this exterior look, but you really want to make the spiritual and kingdom change in your community. These principles will, at the end of the day, when we talk about outputs and outcomes,
Right.
Your community, your church, and God will be proud and smiling on you because you thought about, okay, what is the end goal?
Right.
What does God want from us, right? And I just want to say that because it's important that people might be struggling with these concepts because culturally they're fighting between what is cool and what is not, right? And so these concepts at the end route will get you more at the end. It will more fruit at the end than you going off and doing the flashy things. But really focusing on leadership development will strengthen you as a person and your whole team.
Right. Like someone said, you want to look at this thing with the end in mind.
End in mind.
What do you want to do? The why and then the end in mind. And this book, I wrote this book on the Leadership Method 3.0. It's kind of a comprehensive manual for personal growth and leadership development. There's some tools in that book that can help you. It's a kind of a framework for you to grab those tools and build your leadership. Have that leadership culture in the church that we're talking about, where people understand the value of leadership. So you can go to Amazon; it's there to get you some pointers and get you started in your leadership journey. What better time than the first of the year to grab hold to these tools, and then you can have the best year you want to have by starting out on your leadership journey by getting some personal development and growing in your leadership ability.
I love that.
So thank you all. Thank you all for being a part of this session, this conversation about leadership. And you can contact me at Pastor J at Word of Life, CFC.com, or you can go to our Facebook page. You can follow us on Facebook at James Jacob Ministry. You can go to jamesjacob.org. You can find us on our Facebook page and all platforms that you can contact us. So please check it out. And like you said before, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a comment place right there. You can comment, engage, and just be a part of this conversation. Yeah. If you have any questions, put them there. We love to have this conversation with you. Continue this process because I want you to be the best leader you can, because I really believe that everyone deserves to be led well. Thank you.